Morning.
Yeah. Good. How are you?
Kelby, take us out, will you?
Hey. Boyan Hill. First. I know that ability to outwit my personal life. Therefore, I demand myself to continue action towards the day. And I bear now upon the rest of my action. Second, I realize that I have my life with to reduce myself now towards my action. And gradually transform myself into the reality. Therefore, I will concentrate myself to the day upon the task of these thereby creating my mind to that person. Third, I now see the principle of suggestion and desire that my mind will eventually see instructions to take back. Therefore, I will go ahead and fourth, I have clearly written out how to keep in mind that for achieving in life, that I will never stop trying. Fifth, I will realize that scream it out, Kelly! Get it out! Therefore, I will engage no transactions that I may all know that. I will succeed by extracting myself from the wars that I wish to use, and I will longer race of other people. I will do something to gain because of my voices for others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, self-obsession, like I will love humanity. And I will make the attitude to others and every reason sad. I will not let others believe in me, because I believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and to read out loud once a day with full faith and gratitude and influence of love and action. My wife becomes a self-reliant and a person. Don't leave. So that's 12 steps. 12 steps. Give us some energy. These are 12 steps for a gentleman can complete when following the interaction of knowledge or environment. Guaranteed 24/7 action annually and underestimate a person's growth and achievement. 1. I dedicate 1 hour a day to doing something to protect myself from. 2. I practice and internalize myself skills for a minimum of 1 hour each day. 3. I contact my sphere of influence by mail, by phone, or to a person by email quarterly. 4. I make 150 plus times per week, 30 plus per day, by phone or in person. 5. I follow up my quality daily. 6. I set 5 plus 2 points per week of higher salary. 7. I completely qualify 100% of my appointment. 8. I have appointments and business executives. 9. I call all my ability to review all of this and review what we're doing on the set. 10. I sell 75% of more lines in inventory. 11. I will return my highly qualified buyers with a pre-qualified minority lender and a signed buyer broker agreement. A reward commission in less time and less energy spent. I recognize that as a now I am the boy. Now I am the boy. I will lead, not follow. I will lead, not follow. I will believe, not doubt. I will believe, not doubt. I will create, not destroy. I will create, not destroy. I am a force for good. I am a force for good. I am a leader. I am a leader. By the odds. By the odds. Set in the standard. Set in the standard. Step up. Step up. Step up. Step up. Step up. Step up. All right, open affirmation. I am a professional traveler in one soul. I anticipate how my clients achieve their goals. I price medicine right. I hope it's all on every day. Will take their attack on running any market. I know that they can succeed. I get stronger with every step. I will master every situation. My confidence is stable because of integrity. I always have direct thoughts. I take excellent care of my life. I start to see with abundant energy. I am fast-forwarded. I take every word every day. I know Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
Awesome. Any victories, wins, gratitudes? Yeah.
Gratitude, just I'm grateful to be here, kind of surrounded by other motivated people. I've been part of the company for the better part of this year, but I haven't really taken advantage of coming to opportunities like this morning meeting this morning, and it's as I've been coming more often, it's changing my mentality and it's motivating me, so I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That is incredible, right? I mean, when you really dive into what we are and what we do, it is a game changer. For some of us, it's been doing this for as long as dirt has been on the planet Earth. It changes us, doesn't it, Leslie?
Yeah, I knew you were going to say
Well, I'm with you. I remember the first day I stepped into the office and you were there. You're one of the great people I followed, so it's awesome. You've been an example to me. Now, I have a gratitude for that. So, who else? Gratitudes, victories, wins. Yeah.
I'm grateful that on job shadow day that my son's able to come.
Welcome. Thanks for being here. Yeah, that's awesome, right? You can show your kids what you do. I remember one time my wife was complaining, hey, I don't do a whole lot. What do you do all day? And I said, okay, today you're going to work with me. That happened one day. She never wanted to do it again. So who else? Gratitudes, victories, wins. Okay. So, do you have one? Thought I seen you ready to mouth.
Are you looking at me?
Yes.
Sure, I'll share. I think yesterday was awesome. Base camp.
Was that great?
Was really good. Just learning about mindset. And then if you go on, I had more questions for John about like diving more into that. And so if you go on YouTube, he actually has a video that he did a coaching call on it.
Nice.
So that's helped me a lot. Because it's so true, not just in real estate and life, right?
Yeah. Everything we do in this company is that. It's really to help our mindset, where we're going, what we're becoming, and it's such a healing process. We had our 2-day management thing, and man, I'll tell you what, I'm not a guy that normally gets emotional. There was 2 times I did. Jason. There were some really defining moments.
But he's emotional.
Very much so. Anyway, I love this company for those reasons. It's really a healing process, so I appreciate that. Announcements. Go ahead, you want to know?
Well, the reason I even was bringing this up is because I know George always says about the namesayers in our lives. So Saturday I had a conversation with my mom, and she literally asked me, when are you going to get a real job? And I was like, wow. And so she was like, reality, right? And it's like, so that mindset has been huge for me this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I can't stress enough how healing it's been for me. And for others around me, I know that. Russ and I talk about it a lot. We've been friends for 23 years. And it's been incredible how changing this place can be for you. You come here thinking, I got it all figured out. No, you don't. No, not at all. So, anyway, announcements. So, Summit, November 13th, be here for that. The UPW is coming up quick. So, I'm really pumped and excited to go because my wife and I are going. Heard so much over the years, and I'm so excited to be part of that. So, any other announcements that I'm forgetting? That's about it, right? Finish strong this year. I mean, it's ticking away. So just remember where you're at, George.
Yeah, great.
Yep.
So great to be with you guys. How many of you came to the morning Ascent yesterday? A few more people that were. That was kind of intense. I was even nervous. I was sweating bullets, Amy. You believe that? I told John out there, I said, I'm nervous. And he's like, are you serious? I'm serious, I did that too. I said, actually, no, I'm not serious.
That's right, you cried.
Who cried? No, I did not cry. No, I did not cry. I made it clear that I did not cry.
I don't know, we felt it was a crime.
I have I was thinking to myself, like,
There's a
what
transition.
if I lost my voice? My kids would be thrilled. But I always think about that. I always think, like, it'd be like, Steve, it'd be like the surgeon, like, chopping off his hand. I mean, I don't even know what I would do. So I'm not a good dancer, I know that. So I don't have a career in dancing. So I got to make sure I take care of my voice. But these last 2 weeks, I mean, I have just like, it's been weird, but my voice has been hammered on. So, all right. So if you were to go into I wish we could all go into my office right this minute. And I say I guess we probably could. Like, Jeff, you'll be there today, right?
Yep.
And you're going to see on a dry erase board all of these things. In fact, it was funny, like all the managers from Utah, I know I'm obsessed. Like, I have this love affair with dry erase boards. And there was a few of them that just wanted to come see, like, does he really have this dry erase board? And sometimes, like on Tuesday in my world, is I was coaching myself. And what it was is on the board, what you'll see is my own coaching to me. And people will say, man, that must have been, I've had people already come in and go, man, that must have been a pretty good coaching session. And I'm like, it actually was. And I haven't, actually, that's the first time I've said, actually, that was a coaching session for me. And what I had up there, I'm going to write up a handful of these things. So I don't know necessarily if we'll talk about them all, but I just want to, I mean, today is a good example. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna, you don't know by show of hands, but I know that some of you in here guaranteed are having an off day, but you showed up. Some of you are totally on and connected, and this will help. If you're off, this will help. If you want to get clearer on your future, your destinations, and the way you want your life to be, it'll help. So what I really want to share with you is what I typically do when I find myself sideways. And believe it or not, I actually have this belief that everyone gets sideways. It's just the habits that they use to unhook from that sidewaysness, right? It's the way in which they approach it, right? It's one of those things where you're going to have the first thought, maybe like, gosh, man, why am I, like, maybe I should get a real job, and you can then say, now what am I going to say after that? That's where the control is. I'm a firm believer that you may not control the first thought, but you're definitely going to be able to control everything after that. And that is a habit, a decision, it's a will, it's a direction, a passion that you will have for yourself as to where you want your life and how you want it to end up. And so much of, like people will talk about, some people are born with confidence, some people it seems like create it. But in the end, no matter where you came out of the womb in the sense of your confidence levels, I'm a deep believer that it's a skill set above all things. And that confidence is driven by the skills that you create and the habits that you create on a daily basis. So I just want to throw up just a few things on the board. I should say on the board, John. I'm not going to throw up. Okay? All right. I'm going to finish my sentences today. That's kind of my deal. I'm going to finish my sentences so that I don't confuse all of you completely. All right, here we go. So this was the first thing I wrote, Amy, when I was completely sideways on Tuesday. I wrote down this. Because my observation is that it is almost next to impossible to be present and be sideways. And so I had to remind myself, number one above all things is, basically I didn't write this up here, but I just want to put this up here because I needed to know what my destination was. Like what's the flag on the hill that I'm going after? Where's the summit that I'm trying to reach today? And I realized, my gosh, be present. Because when you're not present, you're in a state of fear. And what you're doing is you're thinking about all the would haves and should haves and could haves and didn't. Or you're thinking so far in the advancement of your dreams, your goals, like, how am I going to get there? And you'll find all of this and anxiety, stress, and whatnot, like we talked about yesterday. So my whole thing was to simply, that day, is to be present, to be in the moment. That when I'm talking to a John, like that I'm there 100%. Not partly there. My body language shows I'm there. I'm not talking to John, but then like, yeah, John, that's cool. My body language may even be showing that I want to be somewhere else. I wanted to be completely present. So that was kind of my destination. My observation, by the way, is this, and that is that in relationship to our business, being in a listing presentation, a buyer presentation, a call, It's all about being present. Because if you're present, you're not thinking about, oh my gosh, what if this call doesn't work out? Because that moment, that's in the future. Right? So everything we do, in fact, one of the things I often say to individuals is that there is safety in the present moment. Like if you look around this room, right this moment, you're safe. Right? There's safety in the present moment. So be present. The second thing I wrote down was this. Every one of us has a story that we tell ourselves. And sometimes it's an unbelievable, amazing story. And then some of us tell ourselves a story that is absolutely horrific. I love the statement of a Tony Robbins who says this: some of you need to divorce your story and marry a new one. Kind of a simple statement. The story is this, right? The story is, maybe it's all your background. Your story is all the things that you've said that are limitations to what you can and can't do. The story is, the voice of your mother, your father, that is not one maybe at that moment that is a solid and good one. The voice is like the voice, it's that second voice that I always talk about, right? Some of you have lots of voices, right? I don't want to go into that whole conversation, but I know you have at least one other voice, right? And you have a voice that is either charging you forward to the possibilities that when you're in a great state of mind, you're in a solid belief system, that when you're in those moments, you are centered, you are clear, you know your direction, and you get real confidence in that. So the thing that I'm certain of is that you can tell yourself whatever you want. And if you control the story, you're going to control your life. And some of you are telling yourself some extraordinary stories. I mean, they're very, very good. But because you're such a great salesperson, because you're so good at selling, you will tell yourselves also stories that don't make any sense. They actually have all these limitations, all of this baggage, all of these problems. Sometimes it's not, again, sometimes it's not even your voice that you're saying. It's the voice of your mother, it's the voice of your father, voice of your brother, your sister, your best friend, your bad relationship, or possibly it might even be the relationship you're in today. It might be one of your closest friends, but you'll hear someone else's voice. But it's not the voice that brings greatness to your soul, to your life, and to who you want to be. So then I came over here and I came down and said, well, wait a second here. I've got to remind myself as to how is it that I become present. And I said, man, you know what? I've got to have a lot of gratitude, because gratitude is the key component, like we talked about yesterday, that is the antidote and eliminates all fear. But I also realized that if I have to be present, I have to have what you guys hear me talk about a lot, and I talked about it even yesterday, is I have to have a clear intention, right? When we're clear, we are powerful. Like, I love one of the talks that was given in our leadership summit with all of the managers and all the administrators and everybody in the company. But one of the things that Rick Davidson talked a lot about was decisiveness, making a decision and taking action. And one of the things I've realized that when you are clear on your intention, when you come from a massive place of gratitude, and then I wrote down the word, execute. Because you have to execute. See, here's the deal. If you are grateful, you know where you're going, then you need to execute. And I didn't write this because I'll put it up here for you. But basically, it's execute on the plan. Right? It's that you execute on the plan. You gotta execute, because here's the deal. To be present, that is what you do. And then all of these things lead to this skill set of confidence. And I just hope that you recognize that if you are lacking confidence, it is always because you are in a place of scarcity versus gratitude. You are unclear on where you're going versus the clear intentions of where you're going. And then the worst part is you don't even know what you're executing on, because you don't even know the plan, because there's no plan, because there's no destination, like a clear destination, whether it be the transactions you do, whether it be the income that you earn, but you've got to make sure that this happens. So over the years, I don't have this up on the board, but I was reminded of this also in my office, but I always write this down. When I say always, like, I'm going to say every month or so, I think I'm writing this down somewhere, either on a dry erase board or in my journal. And it is this, is that and the key word here under here is I have a choice. And you guys have all heard me, but it's just, look, the mother of memory is repetition. Socrates says learning is remembering, right? So the key here is that when you look at your belief system, I just want to point out that you have a choice. Look, you have a choice to believe in God or not believe in God. You have a choice to love someone or not someone. You have a choice to prospect or not prospect. You have a choice to believe that you're Republican or believe that you're Democrat or that you're an American. That's your new belief. But I would just point out that everything that you do in life comes down to choices that you make and beliefs that you make. And so part of that is that you have to decide. And I've said this for a long time, and to where I feel like I almost own it, but it's not me who said it, or at least where I heard it first, but it was from Tony Robbins, and he said, decide what you believe, and what does he say after that? Live it. It seems like a simple concept. I mean, I'm just, right, decide what you believe and live it. Man, that seems like a real simple concept, but it is amazing the complications that come, because this is the great problem, right? Of Earl Nightingale, who said the problem with men today isn't that they can't get what they want, it's that they never decide what they want. So the question is, are you going to decide what you really believe? And the problem is, if you live a life of mushiness and indecision and don't know what direction you're going to go, and what am I going to do in my business, and what am I going to do with my job, and what am I going to do with my health, and what am I going to do in regards to my relationships? Here's the deal. There's a key ingredient to success in life, and that is decisiveness. When someone makes a decision regarding their health, it's so easy and obvious to see. When someone makes a decision in their business, it becomes, again, so easy and so simple. And people just go, oh, what happened? Well, how did you do it? And I will tell you that it started way back here. When you made a decision, you changed your belief as to what you were going to do. And every one of us has that choice, and every one of us has the ability to choose every day what we're going to believe and how we're going to act. Now, you may be unconscious of your beliefs. You may be like, well, I'm not really sure what I believe. Okay, well then that in itself is a decision. But I would challenge you that you have to decide. You have to. Or here's the deal. Or the opposite of that, indecision, lack of clarity, confusion, is misery. So here's the deal. You can choose misery, or you can choose like abundance and life and joy and happiness, but it will never happen if you don't make a clear belief. That's why I'm always saying, live a life on purpose, right? A purposeful life. Like, you're living it on purpose. Like, this is like the life that I designed. A life by design. A life that you live on purpose. A life that you sit there and go, this is what I decided to do. Not, well, I always love what Jim Rohn says. Boy, if you don't have a plan, if you haven't decided what you're going to do, guess what? You're going to be part of someone else's plan. Then he goes, and you might not like that plan, but you're going to be part of that plan because you never decided what your plan was going to be, what your belief was going to be. So, look, get clear in those areas, right? Your relationships, your health, your business. Get clear. Because once you're clear, then all of a sudden the decision process is easy. When you're clear on, I'm going to weigh this much, or I'm going to be able to hike this mountain, or I'm going to be able to run a 5K, right? Whatever it may be, right? If I just talk health, it's easy. Once the decision is made, it's easy. It's easy to say no to the chocolate cake. It's easy to say no to all these things because the decision is made. But when you are mushy, then you're like, well, just one bite. It's not going to hurt. And then you'll do things that are completely inconsistent with the decision. So remember that just like you have people who will approach you about religion, politics, they're all beliefs, right? One group believes this, another group believes that, another person believes this, and now one will say, and I'm right. I can go with that. I have no problem with that. Actually, I like the fact that they believe they are right, because it means that they have taken a decision, and they believe it, and they chose it, and it's how they operate their life based on that decision. I think it's pretty cool. But here's the other part. Is once you have the belief, it goes to this. is that it goes to the way that you think. Here's the thing. This is the thing that I watch that is the difference maker. And that is this, is that when you think, just think about this, when you think good thoughts, sorry, when you have a good belief system, like this is my belief, then you will think good thoughts. You will like, if you say, I love prospecting, you will begin to back it up with the way you think. Now think about this. If I say, I love to prospect, then you will say things that support that. I love prospecting? Yeah, I love prospecting. Well, I had a great experience when I was prospecting. I called this person, this happened, found this lead, made this appointment. It was great. I loved it, had fun. We went and called together, met some other guys, we're prospecting together. We went out and knocked doors together. So great, love it. You'll start chanting, speaking, talking inside, outside of yourself about how much you love it, how great it is, or even how challenging it is, but you're going to conquer it because you made a choice that you believed, as an example, that door knocking works. You believe that it is a good choice to go make phone calls. And all of a sudden, once you make a decision, all of a sudden you start thinking thoughts that support it, because you have to put up pillars that support it. Because if you don't, then you will have someone who comes in and goes, oh, that prospecting thing, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? And people will do that. People come and go, oh, I hate calling for sale by owners. And yet Matt just said yesterday, gosh, most of my business right now is coming from for sale by owners. Interesting. But I know there's people in this group who go, I don't really like for sale by owners. You know, they're so mean and cruel. You mean they learned a script that gets you off the phone, which you interpret it as because you think they're mean and they're not good, and so then you start thinking and then you vocalize your belief on a for sale by owner, and all of a sudden then you move to the next thing, which is the way you feel. This is not anything new to most of you, but then all of a sudden you start feeling really cruddy about it for sale. All the anxiety, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can call him. You know, can you hold me accountable just to call 3 today? And that's not bad that you start that way, but I would tell you that it all comes all the way back to here, that you have a belief that for sale by owners are the worst thing that has ever existed on the planet. Or that you think they're mean, or you're scared, or one of them beat you up, or one of them said something mean, or you've never listed one before. Then they always go with it in your story, they always go with a discount broker. No, they don't. You just didn't create enough value, so they decided to go with a discount broker because there was no difference between you and them, and the only thing that was the difference was the actual money you were going to charge. But if you actually had enough value that you were good enough and could sell them on how good you are and the value you bring, just like the attorney who charges $1,500 an hour versus the one who charges $150 an hour, both have a law degree, both have a real estate license, right? One charges $500, the other charges 7%. What's the difference? Belief? Belief. It's always the case. Think, feel, and once we feel good and we think good thoughts and we have a solid belief system, then all of a sudden we start acting the right way, and then the results. And look, here's the deal. One of my favorite things to do if I was one of you would be to write these words down. Like, just write this word down. Another way to say that is, or what are my beliefs? What's your beliefs about cold calling? Answer it. What's your beliefs about for sale by owners? What's your beliefs about pricing? What's your beliefs about listings versus buyers? What's your belief about how you close a sale? You may say, well, George, what does that all matter? Because here's the deal. Whatever you believe is however you act. And if you believe cold calling doesn't work, what's your philosophy? What's your philosophy for sale by owner? What's your philosophy regarding pricing a home? What's your philosophy regards listings versus buyers? I always love the argument, oh, I don't like listings. Why? Well, because if they don't sell, everyone blames me for the problem. Well, they should, because you're the problem. Because that means you didn't price it right. Because you didn't actually have a conversation, and tomorrow's daily message will come out, 9 minutes of like smackdown on that you have a moral responsibility to not just list a home, but to sell it. And I can promise you that the seller didn't think, you know, I'm going to go with John Because you know what I want to do? I just want to list my home, use it as bait, so it gets a few sign calls, so he can get a few leads, he sells a few other buyers, never sells my home, and I'm going to open myself up for the next 6 months of misery with the idea that my home isn't going to sell, but I want to help John. No one is listing a home with you on that basis. They're listing a home on the basis of what? For you to what? Sell it. So I would just challenge you to realize that you have a philosophy. I guarantee you have a philosophy in all these areas. People go, man, have you really written and defined your philosophy in all these areas? All of them. Ask me what I think about a lead. Ask me what I think about listings. Ask me what I think about visitors, expireds, internet leads, pay-per-click, you name it. I mean, it is fascinating how we never really truly decide what we believe. Now look, the reason why I brought this up is this. Some of you will go back to what I would consider to be, you may define a new belief. And you will say, I believe, and finish the sentence, right? I believe that for sale by owners are the greatest thing since sliced bread. Let's even do this one. This is a true story for me. I believe I can take a 7% listing. And what do you think came into my head right after that? No, you can't. No, I can take 7% listing. Who do you think you are? No, you can't. Don't they know that people are charging less than that? I don't know if I'm worth that. I don't know if I can get that. And I still remember this whole process that I went through. And I remember going on my way to a for sale by owner. Some of you have heard this story. It's worth repeating, I think, because I remember going. It was in Highland Park over there in Sugar House, right by Sugar House Park, and I'm going on a listing appointment, and I'm saying I'm going to take a 7% listing because someone sat in a class like this to me and said, why are you not taking 7% listings? And I said to myself, I don't know, why am I not? And I just made a decision. I'm going to take a 7% listing. And no one taught me this. I hadn't gone to a Tony Robbins. This is like my first year or two in the, not first year or two, my first year in the business. And I made a belief change. I take 7% listings. So as I'm driving there, the 6% or would come back into my mind, and I would just keep repeating 7%, 7%. I take 7% listings. I'm ready to pounding my chest. I take 7%. And I just remember doing that. And then I remember getting out of my car, walking up the windy little walkway, and I remember saying 7%, 7%. And the moment that I would stop, the first thing that would come right back into my head was 6%. I'm serious, it would just come right back as if it was nothing. Like as if I hadn't even done any work in the last hour, just 7%, 7%. I will take 7%. So I go and I see the home, I give my presentation, I still remember this day, and it was like, I mean, I thought that people who had these were incredibly old, but I still remember, I remember that night. Now I can tell a story with these since December, because I had cataract surgery, and I remember saying, the guy said, okay, I think I want to work with you or something like that, and he said, now what's your commission? And I had practiced this probably in my head, and I looked him square in the eye, and I didn't flinch, and I said, 7%. And we stared at each other, and he had these on, and I can still remember him looking at me going, and he took them off, and I remember he went, isn't everybody 6? And I remember I said, nope, I'm 7. And we stared at each other. I still remember him staring at me. Like, that whole thing where, whoever's going to talk and first is going to, and we just stared at each other, and he went, okay. I still remember, okay. It was like one of those uncomfortable moments, like where Matt went, no, any other questions? And I sat there and went, no, okay. I mean, I said, but we're so scared of silence, we're so scared if we lose the deal, we're so scared if they don't like us, we're so scared for who knows what reasons we're scared for. But my point is that, look, you can charge whatever you want to charge, I can promise you, because you're worth it as you define that. And all I'm asking you to do is, right, I didn't write that up here, here would be another philosophy. What's your philosophy regarding commissions? You just got to decide what your philosophy is. It's just a philosophy. And once you decide, then you do this. Now here's the deal. Nowadays what I will do is I will do this with the 7% or whatever it may be, that when all of a sudden the old limitation of, like, let's just say 6% comes into the equation, And now what I do is this. I'm going to write it up here. This is exactly what goes on in my head. Stop. I mean, if I like in my car or somewhere, if you hear in my office, you probably won't hear this, but I'll be like, stop! Like that's what's going on in my head. And I will say these words, I do not. This is exactly what happens. So this is the cray-cray of George Morris. This is what goes on. People go, how come you're so confident? Because I do crap like this that doesn't seem to make sense when you talk about it, but in my head it makes a lot of sense. And I say, stop, I do not believe that. And then I say, I declare, I don't say I declare, but I then state a new belief. And I say, I believe, in this scenario, right, that I take 7% listings every time. Every time! I always repeat, every time. Every time! Well, I used to not think like, well, I don't know if I'm going to set an appointment. And that's where I got into this thing where I say, I set an appointment every time I get on a phone. Every time. And that is what's going on in my head. And here's the deal. You guys, like, who was in that prospecting school last week? Or 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was. Did I set the appointment? Oh, you guys don't know the follow-up on this, though. Dude, who was in there? Was anybody else in the room? You remember the lady, the Texas lady moving to Texas?
Yeah,
getting her license?
that.
Dude, that has, like, do you guys, the next day she called me? 3 times!
Wow.
And I wasn't available. Well, that doesn't sound like bizarre, but I wasn't available. And I finally called her back, and she's like, you know, you got me thinking. Will you make sure, because I hadn't gotten her the information for this guy, Carter Morris. And I didn't even have his number, so I had to track down Rick Davidson, get his number there. It was on a Saturday morning. I guess it was. We did it on Wednesday. So no, on Saturday. It was Saturday morning. She called me, and she called like 3 times that Saturday. And man, she got in her head, I'm going to get my license. And she wanted to look at homes when she got there. And I know that they're now working together. And I thought to myself, how long did I prospect? It was like 30, 40 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to make like $2,000 from that. And I just think to myself. That's why my statement is, I set an appointment every time I get on a phone. And I really didn't set an appointment, but I actually made money from those calls. I know I will. And even, you know, I love the fact that she, at that moment, felt so comfortable that she called me back. And she was so excited to talk to me again. So, look, all I know is you can change the belief. And you can say, stop, I do not believe that. I believe that I take, or what you fill in the new belief, right? Right here is the new belief right here. Whatever the new belief is. Oh, I'm not a morning person. What the crap does that mean? What did you sell yourself on that nonsense? Well, I just didn't. I don't. You affirm. I don't sleep well through the night. Why do you affirm that? Why can you not say a new belief? I always sleep through the night. I have great rest. You may say, well, that's a lie. No, because I can tell you that your subconscious, your mind, is more powerful than you could ever imagine. And it will direct your body, your life, and bring you everything you want. But you guys, look, I'm not, and look, when people say, well, I don't really have any limiting limiting beliefs. You know what your first limiting belief is? You don't have any. That's the dumbest thing that anyone has ever said if you don't think you have them. Because we all have them. And we show our limitations by rationalization. We show it by excuses. We show it by, well, I wasn't able to get to the morning meeting because I was out really late with a buyer. What the hell does that matter? Why did you give an excuse in relationship to keeping your word, and all of a sudden now you get to feel good about yourself because you gave some pathetic excuse? I'm just telling you, that's the world that goes on in my head when I hear stuff from you guys. But that's because I used to challenge myself in those same arenas. And I still today have my limitations, right? I say things that don't make sense, and then people call me on that stuff. And they say things like, you know, my closest friends will say things like, well, that sounds like a really empowering story. And because I'll say something really stupid that doesn't make sense. Or, you know, like he's trying to tell me that Boston's going to win. And I'm like, I refuse to believe that. I refuse. Tell me how he's going to, on Saturday, going to wear all his Boston Red Sox game to the World Series because we're going to the World Series. It's not going to happen. I know. I refuse to believe that. Okay?
I mean, you gotta believe it, right?
It's not going to happen. No sweeps. No sweeps. Okay? All right. So, just as we wrap up, look, This is the stuff that I do. And I start writing down things like, how many of you ever have moments where you're overwhelmed? This is the other thing. I always say this. I can do more and handle more. Like, I'm okay if these aren't your issues. I'm just telling you, those are my issues. If you were to look at my schedule today, every half an hour except one half an hour is scheduled. I have 15 appointments today. I feel a little overwhelmed today. And what I will say is, I can do more and handle more. I am unstoppable. I am unstoppable. Do more and handle more. What do most people do? Oh, man. I am so busy today. I've got so much happening. I've got this deal I'm working on. And we'll say all this nonsense and convince ourselves that our overwhelm is acceptable. And again, you just took a belief, you chose that belief, you may not even be conscious of the fact that you're doing it. That's why I'm just going all over the place, like, you know, from your beliefs of like, look, your spiritual beliefs, your health beliefs, your relationship beliefs, you know, your beliefs about travel. Some of you believe that you're going to try to get to someplace in the cheapest possible fashionable way. That is not my belief. In fact, my daughter now says, his wife will say, man, it's good to be you and travel with you. I'm like, well, yeah. That's how I do it. Like, I hate flying Southwest. I can't stand that airline. And I have to fly them on Monday again. Because they have a flight that I have to hit at a certain time, and I can't get any other flight. It's like the cattle. Like all everybody's like, all right, line up. Hey, are you number 4 or 5 on the list? Oh, I'm 5. Oh, get back there, buddy. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, this is not the experience I'm looking for. Some of you are like, oh yeah, but I saved myself $15. I'm like, I know. Anyway, my point being is that you guys have like these beliefs, and I'm not. You know what? Hey, you want? I don't care if your belief is I fly and you empowered by flying Southwest, and I can't even say West. I usually worse. But you can do whatever you want. That's fine, man. But I'm just telling you. I'm just challenging you on your philosophy. And like, what do you believe? And do you really believe that, or is it someone else who said, no, you should always be saving money? Do you really work this hard so that you can scrimp? Like people say, like, well, you don't mow your own lawn? Like, no, why would I do that? If I'm on grass, I better have a golf club in my hands. Why would I do that? I mean, if it's therapeutic to you, knock it out of the park. Right? I just wouldn't do things like that. Because why? Because I don't want to. Because my belief is that if I'm spending time doing that, then I'm losing moments where I could create memories. Now here's what's interesting. I now, 25 years later after selling a landscaping company, Steve, I'll finish with this. I have a lawnmower, an edger, and a blower. But not so I can use it, but because my 13-year-old was so hell-bent on creating a little landscaping business that he was so wanting this, that I got sold on this idea, and he mows 2 lawns, and so for the first 2 or 3 times in 25 years, and I found great satisfaction and reward from that, is I would help him mow the lawn. And it was kind of fun for 2 or 3 times. And now, I don't do that anymore. Now I yell at him if he doesn't do it, but I don't need to be doing it with him. Right? So my point is just check your beliefs, and if they're not in alignment with what you want and the results you want out of your life, then, you know, I mean, some of you I watch, I was giving Linda Martinez like 300 grand this year, and she's like flying coach to Tony Robbins, and I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you not fly first class? And so she's now flying first class because somehow she made some belief that saving $125 on her flight would make the difference. How can that possibly make any sense when you work as hard as you do? It doesn't. And you can tell me, well, wait, I could go buy an investment property. You're not going to go buy an investment property because you flew first class.
Not with
You're not. I've been on a plane 90 times this year. And one time, because I, like, a week ago had to fly southwest. It was the worst experience. It was horrible. I get up there, like, you're 53 pounds in your bag, sir. I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, are you sure you can't? No, we can't. Sorry. No, you got to test. I take crap out of my bag. I'm stuffing it into my golf bag. I'm doing all this other stuff, and as I'm sweating, because I'm sweating no matter where I am, always hot. You know, and then I get in, and then some guy goes, and I'm serious, that's why I'm telling the story. The guy's like, no, you're behind me. I'm like, okay. So I just wait behind him. I'm just saying. Like, create awesome experiences for your life. You know, some of you need to upgrade lots of things in your life, like your car, your clothes, the way you travel. And sometimes we just accept and become complacent. So the great question, by the way, and I wrote this in there, you can go, if you want, you guys are welcome to go take a picture of it there. I don't have other stuff up that I haven't written up here, but the one question I always like to ask is, what are you unwilling to accept any longer? Because I'm telling you, the key to life is stop accepting complacency. Strive, build, grow, surge surge after achievement and keep getting things. Growth is happiness. You know? Again, you know I'm making light of the Southwest thing. I just would tell you that it's the concept of what are you accepting that you shouldn't be accepting? What are you trying to save on that you shouldn't be trying to save on? What should you be doing that you're really not doing? What beliefs have you taken on that aren't even yours? Like my dad, I grew up. Like, people don't know this. Like, I know how to, like, fix dishwashers, washer dryers. I can, like, replace sinks, disposals, toilets. I can do it all because of the way I was raised. Guess what? Have you ever seen me do that? No. He laughs. No. Would never do that because I don't like to do it. And you may say, well, wait, what if you have to? Well, that's different. But I would even just say this. How about that you even just, like, once in a while flew first class? How many times I've taken people on a plane and I'm like, if you're on this plane, you're not flying coach. You either fly with me in first class or don't get on the plane. And sometimes I'll even give them upgrades, or I'll buy my ticket with them so they get upgrades. And I just want you to realize that you should be living a life that truly is first class. You should live a life not because I'm talking about extra $100 on the flight, but because you should have an incredible experience because you're doing the right things in this business to where you're not worried about whether you're going to save $100 on your flight. How about you focus on the experience that you're going to have in your life and who you become and the things that you create because of the wealth and the abundance this business can create because you created a belief system that you were going to be wealthy. And I said I was going to close, but now I'm going to close right now. Man, I am so horrible. But hey, the question I always ask is to any young person, and I know he will remember this, is two things. The first one is your political position on capitalism. You remember these conversations? And the second question is this, and it's a good one now that he's married my daughter, and that is are you going to be rich? And people say, oh my gosh, that's such an offensive question. Why would you ask someone if they're going to be rich? Why not? You're in the most lucrative, abundant, wealthy country in the world. How can you think anything else? Do not give me this crap, this nonsense belief that goes, well, money's not everything. It is everything when you don't have any. It is everything when you don't have any. When you have it, it seems like it's no big deal. But when you don't have it, it's everything. And some of you in this room have all been at some point or other where you don't have anything, and it is the only thing you think about. Do not tell me, well, you know, my greatest treasures are my children. I get that. But I also know that you have a responsibility and the privilege, and you should be rich from this business. If you are not following the program. If you are not, you have talked yourself into something else. You have rationalized it all away, somehow, some way. So don't settle. Go for everything that this business can offer, and stop talking yourself out of the scary moments. Stop talking yourself out of going knocking on doors or making a phone call or going and mastering a listing presentation. In fairness, who was at yesterday's morning Ascent? Did anyone see how sweaty Matt's armpits got?
Oh, yeah.
How awesome is that? Because here's the deal. He'll be that much better the next time. Showing up in front of a FSBO or for sale by owner will be a piece of cake when he has 75 of his peers in the room and me standing there with no warning, hey, come up and role play with me. pretty interesting. Because it's all about now that will shift his belief to a whole different belief that he goes like, oh man, if I did that, I can do this. That's what always happens. Okay? Any thoughts, comments? You actually didn't make any thoughts or comments. I made them all. So I didn't give you a chance. Like drinking out of a fire hose. Okay. And if you want a picture of what's on my other board, you're welcome to take a picture of it. My office is open. It's just over there in the corner. All right, here we go. Thanks, bud.
We take whatever else we want.
Well, if it's not attached, and I won't miss it. All right, here we go. I see people that are my heroes. I am an optimist. I like talking to new people. I know it's important to me. I remember people's names. I forget what I follow. I am passionate about real estate. I know consistency is my greatest tool. I like asking questions and listening. I enjoy reading to improve my sales skills. My thoughts lead my emotions, actions, goals. I focus on my dreams daily. I transformation, power, and persuasion. I improve my skills daily. I am happy. I love the prospect of leading my business. I see my future is awesome. I love my life. I am grateful and thankful. I control my thinking. I believe in me. I feel outstanding. I use my beliefs and optimism daily. I get things done. I provide excellent service. I get water daily. I connect with people. People love me. I love others. I am disciplined and careful to my schedule. I prospect daily. I step one daily. I'm a master persuader. I achieve my goals. I'm a real estate rockstar. I'm passionate about my life. I live every day with purpose. I'm confident in my sales skills. I know my destiny. I am healthy and strong. I am powerful. I am unstoppable. I keep positive, shining, rocking, fast, mind, go, fast, yes. Morning. 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 Let's sit down. Let's get together next week. Okay. I'm in town all next week. Okay.